Welcome to Yildiz Readings 5D, a hub in which we cover your zodiacs, astrology, twin flame path, moon energy, and more. Should you need a booking, you can go to the link below. And for all information relating to our psychic tarot extension, the information is in the box below. Without further ado, let's take a look at what I see coming through for your zodiac sign. Were we wrapping up 2022? More than likely, we did have Mars, the planet of war, obsession, passion, sitting in the house of Gemini from August last year, where it did then ingress into the house of Cancer, which it is deemed in as detriment, but many of us are super excited at the fact that we get a break of that. Separately, we had Saturn shifting into the house of Pisces, which occurred on the 7th of March 2023. It will remain there in the house until 2025. Separately, our big Pluto ingress into the house of Aquarius did occur last month. This also is going to be a huge subject coming in the collective due to the fact it's going to shift between Capricorn and Aquarius, wrapping up its karmic cycle. It can feel a little bit testing, especially now because it was at the 29-degree point, shifting into 0 degrees of Aquarius. We're still trying to get our footings and getting the PDF of what subjects are going to be really looked at with great detail and really cast out because they're simply not working. Let's take a look at how this month is going to be shaped for us and what we need to be prepared for. Now, what can April bring? Number one, we do have an eclipse occurring this month. Number two, we do have Mercury moving retrograde. We're going to feel that mid-month. We also have Mars sitting in the house of Cancer. That can bring themes of emotions to the surface, and we do need to try and be patient. And I definitely see some themes really playing out in a sense of new beginnings. And I found it really interesting at the fact that we had a new moon last month and we're having another new moon in Aries in two sets. So I really felt as though we were going to start something brand new, have an inkling of it, but really not get the full, momentum of it happening. And I do feel we're going to have more clues to this, but it really started to set the stage last month. And so wherever that Aries placement is for each zodiac, which I'll dive into, what I'm seeing is this hybrid partial eclipse that is going to be occurring on the 20th of April 2023. And I feel it's important, don't make any major decisions if you can. Moon is very emotional. It can be home, family, mother, intuitive energy. And Sun is the identity, the logic, and generally speaking through that, we tend to not have either. So, whereby we can delay making decisions, especially because it's already entering into that shadow phase of Mercury retrograde in the house of Taurus. I think it's really important to, I would say, be optimistic, but be cautious. Really, dot your I's and cross your T's. You could feel that some blessings are coming back to you from the past, but it also can be a time where we're going backwards to go forward simultaneously. But I do see this is a brand new chapter. So I would say by mid-month, try to have your ducks in a row. Try and keep as organised as possible and be aware of those inkling frustrations and tension points where we do have that first eclipse of the year, which is a hybrid. We also are having a full moon in the house of Libra. And I think that's pretty interesting because both the axis of Libra and Aries will be coming about later in the year as the nodes move, and they tend to set the tone of what we have astrologically happening globally. And I did say really at a collective level that feminines do need to be very cautious of how they show up in society, of their safety, their wellness, and being that we're entering April with Mars in the house of Cancer, practice safety, practice self-awareness, try to build people up, try to not pull them down, but very much protect yourself where need be. As we do move into the month of April, we are in the vibration of angel number 4. Separately, we can also look to number 11 for added guidance as we do have it being the 4th month in 2023, breaking down to an 11. Now, what I see coming through for this is we can have this sense that we are feeling very alone, that we're feeling very isolated. This particularly could be because Mars is in the house of Cancer. And so with our endeavors, with our hopes, with our feelings, we can particularly feel misunderstood. Now, 11 is a brand new chapter. We can feel a little bit out of our depth, but know everything is very divinely guided. Alignment is key, but it's a brand new chapter. So again, the tedious frequency of the precipice of change can feel like you are a giraffe trying to gain its bearings. Know that you're not alone and that help is coming. You are going to be attracting in brand new situations. And even if you do feel out of your depth, know that universe has your back. It is the precipice of change that does make us feel very tense. Trust the process. We can feel misunderstood with our feelings, our emotions. And again, Mars can bring volatility to those dynamics. So knowing where Mars in Cancer falls in your chart could be pretty key. And also really getting prepared, because we do have an eclipse this month. And so where you're feeling that there is lack, there are also going to be opportunities. And it's really about getting into alignment, seeking out those situations, having that attention in those areas of your life and enhancing them where need be. The burning question on all of our lips may be, is this month going to be any better? Are we ready? Are we prepared? And what is hidden? And I'm going to cover all of that inside of your zodiac. I will give you tips where I feel are necessary inside of any heavy energy that does potentially come through. And separately, you can book a private session or join a YouTube membership. Let's take a look at your zodiac sign and all the various areas that can play out this month for you. Aries, one could say this really is a big change for you. And that is because we are having our first eclipse of the year in April 2023. Now, it is going to come through in a set later in the year where the nodes shift. And that's really going to set the time between now and 2025. So stay tuned, keep up to date with the energy, knowing that this is your year, but definite changes are in the mix in this cycle. So yes, it can be both testing, transformative. You're definitely not going to recognize yourself after this. It still may need some support in the dynamic of accepting it, but universe is really pushing you for this brand new beginning. And so it's really necessary to trust the process. I will give you the tips in each area of your life of where I feel month by month this is going to come, but most definitely you're going to see at a personal level, you and the connections around you are going to be directly changed and transformed forever. Let's take a look at your love life and what I see cropping up for you in April. I really see some bold changes happening in love, be it you're single or coupled this month. And I do particularly feel number one is because we're going to be having a full moon in the house of Libra. And psychically, I was really picking last month, and I have mentioned this to the people that do follow me online, is that because we had Pluto moving out of the house of Capricorn into the house of Aquarius, it's going to do its dip back and forward. I do psychically predict that we are going to be having a lot of blasts from the past coming through. April especially, both due to the fact that we're having two moons really linking to you versus others, one being a hybrid partial eclipse at the critical degree, which is a brand new beginning. The other is because Mercury will be going retrograde, and it is in a Venus house, so stay tuned for that. I definitely feel spiritually you're going to have an opportunity to rework old situations. For those of you that are really interested to dig deep, this can be bumping into those blasts from the past. It can be really mustering up the courage, and I really feel you're going to find the correct words, and they're going to be in the most loving way you can articulate how you directly feel. I do feel you've had a lot of time to think about this, and I think, especially if you're finding that you're needing to communicate how you feel, I feel it's really key to clear your throat chakra. I definitely was seeing that coming through with Mars being in the house of Gemini. I feel it was really important. There was that pressure point where you were being pulled in multiple directions, thinking over old situations. Even those of you that are directly in a connection, you can find in particular That tension is going to be there, but it's really about getting grounded, knowing what your intent is, and aiming for that goal and really working through those differences. I do feel for those of you that have been having a real tough time within a physical relationship, this could be a month where some of you decide to pull such down. Now, it doesn't have to be that it ends, but it can be that it's going into a renegotiation in some shape or form. But old emotions can flow to the surface. This also does pose an opportunity for those of you to get back on track, be it you're single or couple. Now, I really did say the world was your oyster this year, and some of you may not be feeling that. Some of you could be looking at your career at this point in time and saying, what the devil am I getting here? What is this? Is this is it worth the grind? Is it worth my energy? I do particularly feel for those of you, if you are working from home, you may be fiercely trying to get things in order, and you can find that family is pulling you left and right. It could be your schedule. It could become very obsessive, especially if you do have opportunities. And I do really see opportunities can come from your home zone. So don't be surprised if there is this tension point there. But I also feel that it can be a solution. So it could be that you do gain financially through a home endeavor. This could be renting your home out. This could be tidying your home up. There could be concerns as to where you're going to live, what you're going to do, but heavy energy is going to be forced into that domain. In the area of career, I do particularly feel you're coming through. You may have been thinking to yourself, do I need to be more assertive in my role? You can be coming through friendly. But at the same time, I believe healthy boundaries are key. I do particularly feel you're going to be quite focused on finances, especially surrounding what you do, what your goals are, where you're going, and you do feel quite career focused. However, I do feel you're wanting to also be rewarded for the effort that you're putting in. And there is a potential here of some gains. And I do feel there's a potential here of a renegotiation of deals, particularly if you are unhappy with this. I'd really get those ducks in a row prior to Mercury going retrograde, because there can be some element of confusion later on in the month as we have the eclipse. So I would wait till after it goes direct, but I do particularly feel Lady Luck can be coming back for you, and some sense of rewards can be coming. So that is a bonus happening for you within your star sign. If you are feeling out of sync where it does come to your career, now would be a time to really put those resumes out. You tend to find Mercury aids that. So although it can create a delay, when you do get them out close to that point, what you can find is when it goes direct, you have an opportunity then to have the world as your oyster with all the choices there on your plate. So stay tuned. Some of you also spiritually could find that the environment as per se is going through a transition and a change, but you can find after Pluto ingressed out of Capricorn, it can dissipate now, and it can be where you're being really clear about what you want, and some of that pressure can be moving away. I do particularly feel it's important around friends and the people you're mixing with to be quite fluid. If there are individuals in your pair that are doing their own thing, try to let it go water off a duck's back. Try to take it with a pinch of salt. Keep business and pleasure very separate, and that's going to aid you, because there can be some control related dynamics with management coming up, but it can be also you butting heads with these individuals, and that could long term cause problems. Now, wellness is a broad thing. This can be your vibration. This can be wellness at the core. It could be eating. So we're going to cover all of that, of what I do see for your zodiac. So look, I can say there is a risk at the moment with the transits, and psychically what I'm picking, even working with the chakras, is that your throat chakra could be coming on and off. And so I would eat the blue food groups if you can. Always seek a professional prior to taking any astrological, spiritual advice. Always use your intuition. I would also say you can be going for things that are maybe sweet. It could be pacifiers. And there can be a little bit of overindulgence. So I try to really rein it in, be aware, have your food that's quite prepared, and also try to avoid those pacifiers because they actually, excess caffeine or anything to that degree, it can really be irking on your nerves. And as we do move to that eclipse, your patience and threshold is going to be less. Near that eclipse, I would really be quite cautious. And give yourself a few days. Try to not overschedule yourself. Try to not overburden yourself. Get your ducks in a row up to the 20th, and then from there on and ride that wave. I do tend to see that you can be quite heated during the eclipse, especially because it's in your zodiac sign and there is the risk of you taking things personal. So really move into that practice of detachment. Really take a moment to think about what you want to do in your life and try to not seek it inside of other people. This is a very personal transit for you. It is going from the 1st and the 7th house, and that can feel almost like your power is taken from you, but something is happening for you. It can be very positive. People can see the truth of who you are. And look, we're not always going to be what everyone wants, and we're not meant to be. We're quite unique. Our identity is very separate to what we need to be for everybody else. But you can be critiquing yourself. You can feel quite judged. But this also can be a brand new emotional beginning where a lot of confidence can come in. So go easy, give it a few days. And don't do anything strenuous or dangerous around that time because A, Mercury will be retrograde, and B, it is Jupiter's in the house of Aries, the eclipse is in Aries, and Mercury will be gearing up ready to go retrograde. So just be really careful and do expect delays. Food-wise, be cautious. There's also a risk with Jupiter in Aries of weight gain. It is only temporary. To counteract it, what you can do is actually wear loose clothing. I do feel you're very goal orientated, and I do feel you're critically looking at abundance. And I do think this is going to be a continuation of such. You're getting to a degree the PDF of what it is. Due to the fact currently that the North Node's in Taurus, Mercury is going to be retrograding in Taurus, really linking to your asset zone. This is your net worth, it's your confidence, it's your ability to manifest. Separately, Pluto moved into the house of Aquarius, which we could look at the 11th house as abundance. This also can be your mentorship, goals, aspirations. I'd be very cautious not to be controlling in that domain. Disputes over finances can come up in that kind of dynamic. It also could be control and power. This also can be a fantastic opportunity with Pluto in Aquarius for you to look over your books, for you to, especially during Mercury retrograde, you always find things that you didn't know. Signing of contracts usually, and this is not professional advice, this is astrological based. I cannot give you such. I would more than likely read the fine print. I would try to delay signing any major critical document if possible. Until after Mercury goes direct. If you need to get your ducks in a row with that, do such, especially if it pertains to loans, inheritances, launching of large projects. I would leave it till Mercury goes direct if possible. You can be reworking some of those things, but I definitely see new abundance coming through for you. And I do feel you're going to be more cautious, more selective of what you give. And I do think this is quite beneficial. If there was some emotions relating to you, your status, your wealth, I do feel it's coming up in a negotiation. I feel if you can keep grounded, it's going to go in your favor. Now, entering into this month, we are having the full moon in the house of Libra on the 6th of April 2023. Now, collectively, we can find that we are looking at our wellness. Something can be coming to a head. We can have such in the media. Very separately, what we can find within our own personal zodiacs is key things relating to wellness, love, abundance, balance, and justice. I do feel, as we do look at this at a collective level, I do feel we are going to be really reworking what we can do to A, keep ourselves grounded, keep ourselves healthy, and to find the most stable way to have a brand new beginning without being codependent. Due to the fact the next moon is going to be a hybrid eclipse, which I'll get into in a moment. Let's take a look at how this links to your zodiac sign and what I see coming up for you with the full moon in Libra on the 6th of April 2023. Now, during this moon, Aries, many of you may have subjects relating to home, emotions, intuition, love, and how directly romance has impacted you. And this can be a time of renegotiation. I definitely feel for you, you could be pulled in two directions. This could be an emotional time, especially where it does link to contracts and partnerships. But I feel from a romantic point of view, many of you can particularly feel that this is a slight purge, especially with the up and coming hybrid eclipse in Aries. So take stock, sit with it, try to not make any drastic decisions, but this can be a time for those of you inside of contracts and partnerships to come to terms with things, and it can be a heart chakra activation. I would particularly say, through in your confidence, is know that you're worthy, know that these things can pan out. If you're missing people from the past, this can be a time also where you do bump into them and you can work through your differences, but this can be a wrapping up of the cycle. Those of you in a very toxic relationship and you feel that the metaphorical stuff has hit the roof, this could be a time that you choose to exit stage for some of you, not all of you. Now, the very first eclipse of the year has come in two sets. The moon is deemed as a black moon, is because we had two new moons in one set, being Aries. Now, this is the first eclipse of the year, being a hybrid partial solar eclipse in Aries on the 20th of April 2023. Now, it's also at the critical degrees, and being a new moon, I do particularly feel this can be something quite radically changing very quickly, especially because this is your first house of self. This could be a time in which, with Mercury retrograde, don't do anything drastic when it does come to your hair, your makeup, plastic surgery. I would pause. Now, Mars wants to go in where, it wants to move forward. It's in a hurry. This would be the time where benefits from the past can come. People can appreciate you. You have large revelations to do with yourself. Also, where you're living, feeling, sensing, intuition can come up. But I would say don't rush. I do particularly feel, because we do have situations retrograding at this point, and this is eclipse, as much as possible, we may find that there's more information coming to us, and this can really aid us through having that brand new direction and confidence for the future. I do particularly feel for you at a personal level, this could be anything to the degree of gaining confidence, having clarity, making a conscious choice of a brand new way that you're going to be, defying the odds, so to speak, not putting up with rubbish. This also could be image changes, quite radically so. And I do particularly feel you could be putting your foot down and saying, I know what I want out of life and I'm going to go and get it. Status also can come into this. So you could go to rags to riches, riches to fame. Again, I would take time with that. This also can be engagements, and personal changes that you physically go through your own personal status. But I do feel it can be greatly healing, and confidence can resurface yet again. Don't be surprised if you do go down the rabbit hole of emotions during it, but it is really going to set the stage. And once we unpack and digest what that is, you may very well find that as we proceed through the next 6 months into 2025, really, because the nodes will be shifting by such that new tone for your life, both with your marriages, contracts, partnerships, and yourself, you versus other people, is going to look extremely different. Get ready for that 180, baby. As I mentioned, Mars had been sitting in the house of Gemini from August last year, and many of us were so happy to hear that it was leaving. So happy. It was exhausting. Mars also retrograded in the house of Gemini, which did make a lot of people tired. So intellectually, we had the activation of Mars, which was our vitality, our energy, our drive, and Mercury, our thoughts, our feelings, our logic, our day-to-day routine in a retrograde. We definitely saw issues with technology. We definitely saw issues with crosswires, gossip, moodiness, insecurities. but definitely trying to really get projects off the ground and complete things and, have a set routine. It was extremely difficult and you would have felt more exhausted. Many of you may have had long trips back and forward, which really Mercury does link more so to short trips and driving. But even communication via social media, conversations on the phone, multitasking, it's now shifted into the house of Cancer, which is your fourth house. So this again can be a time where you're very focused on your own personal feelings, your own needs, your direction, your home. It could be, okay, I need to address something at home. I need to address situations with parents. But you can be assertive and there can be these hot and cold feelings. And I definitely see a lot of you may see patterns. Home-based businesses also. Now, Mars in Cancer is deemed as its detriment, which means it doesn't function very well there. The reason being is because Cancer can link to children, home, family, mother, its intuition, its emotion, its sensitivity. Mars, on the other hand, is the polar opposite, and I think it's really key to find the harmony of it. But it could be where we were maybe too soft in certain areas and maybe need to be more firm and attention orientated in a particular area to rein a situation in. For you, if you're needing to address those things, because you are Aries, don't rush, breathe, think, react. That's where you're going to get your best coming through with this. I do feel also many of you can be quite fertile at this time. I'll just give you an FYI. Even though it is the fourth house, I do particularly feel because Mars is involved, there is a potential of fertility there for particular individuals. It will be there for a little bit, not as long as Mars in the house of Gemini, but definitely, this could be a time where we do nurture ourselves, look after ourselves, and need to really feel home within our bodies. I do particularly feel some of you with Jupiter in Aries, the eclipse in Aries, there could be this confidence-related dynamic cropping up for you within your identity. It could be, am I attractive enough? Am I beautiful enough? It is going to dissipate. But again, I do really feel with the eclipse landing in Aries later this month, is that you are going to be making solid, bold changes. It has been hinted a little bit because Jupiter expands things, but I definitely see that as a positive thing in the long run. Just try and be very patient with others because it is not only affecting you, it's affecting the collective. Now, as mentioned, Mercury is going to be retrograding this month. It is going to be in the house of Taurus, but it does shift into the house of Taurus on the 3rd of April. So this can be a time when you're quite focused. There could be negotiations, there could be conversations, there could be situations you're addressing relating to your financial attribute of things. You may be really in discussion and negotiation of maybe pay rises, etc. But I also feel you could be more social. This can be fine dining, eating, drinking. So keep an eye on that. This also could be you needing to do a lot of paperwork. It could be signing of documentation, as mentioned previously. I also feel in a contractual setting, some of you may be looking at ways that you can generate more income. I would say it's a good time between now and the end of the month as Mercury moves retrograde is to really update your passwords online. And this can be security, added security, protecting your assets, especially because we do have Mars in the house of Cancer. Your home environment, your security at home may be essential. Now, yes, as it moves retrograde, we can have situations that we thought were ironed out that quite are not, okay? And I do feel a lot of you could be really using this time for review. This can be reviewing, do you feel you're getting paid enough? How could you be using your money better? What your day-to-day routine is within your career, what you get for it versus... it also could be a delay in your wage going in. So make sure to check your pay slips. It is Mercury. It does have its delays. More testing I generally find in the interim as we go into it, but directly as it goes direct, I find a week to 2 weeks after, we still get that niggling out of that shadow phase. So stay tuned for that. Try to be patient and make sure to keep an eye on your bank balance, that your wages have come in, etc. Definitely a good time to update security and insurance policies and things to that degree. Separately, I would say from a confidence point of view, where it does come to romance, we do tend to get conversations from the past. These can be text messages coming in. This also can be, really nostalgic, really reflective, and really questioning, hey, do I have the confidence, to address this? Do I have the confidence to approach that person? Some of you also may bump into somebody. And also, I see very separately some of you wanting to sell things. If all of a sudden you're like, I don't need this, and you want to get rid of it, try and pause a little bit before you make any rash decisions. Hairdos, looks, etc. Again, if you can, test things out that are quite temporary, because you may not value them on the other side of this. Let's take a look at some of the psychic messages I have for your zodiac sign. And then if you do wish to get the extension, you can go through to our YouTube membership or read the information below for the Psychic Tarot extension. Without further ado, let's take a look at your psychic update and what I see coming through for you. I'm hearing for you go gadget legs, and I do feel there's a particular phase of your life where you feel this penny little, the sky's falling down. Now, my guides are showing me that you're in a hurry, but you also don't know what the hurry is. You don't know what's missing. You could be very busy filling your time. You have moments of being incredibly grounded and then moments of feeling disillusioned. And I do particularly feel there's an element of avoidance in particular areas, but you may not be aware of what they are. I do particularly feel you're trying to look to the future, and this could pertain to love or a major decision that you're ready to make. I do feel you're playing it out in your mind, but you're cautiously optimistic, but at the same time, you're also very protective of yourself at this point in time. I feel there's an element of, and I think a book that would be really handy for you, especially through this time, is The Courage to Be Disliked. I don't know the author's name. Feel free to, PM me and tell me what it is. There could be a situation where you have to make a decision and it may not make everyone happy, but it's going to make you happy. I also hear a lot of white noise. And I feel that white noise around you can be people's opinions, people's feelings, and it's kind of absorbing into your skin. It's getting under your skin, and it could be that there is a little bit too much white noise going on. You may need to create some distance with these individuals, but also not own it and take a moment to make a decision privately. I do particularly feel if there has been this push-pull dynamic, especially in your social crowds, I do feel this month it can come to a head. So I'd really watch out for that one, because I do spiritually feel somebody could rear their ugly head and show their true colours, and I don't feel it's you, Aries. Somebody may tell you some home truths that you're not happy with. I also see some of you wanting to get a new vehicle. This could be, I just see a new vehicle. This could be a repair. It could be an update. It could be an upgrade. Some of you I'm seeing a speeding fine, so just be careful. I do feel there is a pocket group of you that are getting a text message, and it's something that you weren't expecting. I don't feel it's bad, but I do see this shock on your face. You can't believe it. You don't know who to call. You don't know who to tell, but it's just ever so unexpected. I also feel a loved one on the other side. Now, for a pocket groupie, a very strong male energy was coming up, but there is also for some of you the opposite sex, which is a female, but the most dominant energy that was cropping up at this point in time was a male energy. For some of you, this could be a grandfather or a father individual. I'm hearing brother, but whomever this person is, they're very super aware that they're thinking of you very heavily at this point in time. This could be particularly because you are going through a transition in your life. Some of you are also very worried about a parent figure. Now, this could be merely a reflection back to the past or a current energy that is still here on the planet. Whatever this kind of mix-up is, or confusion or concern, they're saying it's going to be okay. Some of you also could hear gossip in relation to something that was given to another but not to you. I do feel that this month you are going to be doing a 180, and I do feel you could be going backwards to go forwards. Be very, very careful around your social crowds. Be careful what you tell them. Be careful what you give. Some of them, there is an element of manipulation, and they're wanting a lot more from you than you're willing to give. It could be that they're really quite used to you doing things in a certain fashion, and I do get this vibe. There's a little bit of bitterness and resentment, and you really do need to watch your back. I do feel new friendship groups coming into your life. Now, this can go either way. This can be that they're controlling you, or you're feeling, you're feeling controlled by it. You're feeling, bullied in some way. Just be careful it's not going the other way. Go with the flow. Be spontaneous. Be open. But also, don't get up in your head about it. You know, really let go if you feel this doesn't, like, if they don't vibe with you. I do feel many of you are going to be going through a very large spiritual awakening. This could be very psychic. And I'm also seeing it's very, very important to be careful what you put in your body. You can become super sensitive to certain food groups. But I feel this is more nervous and agitated energy. Getting grounded, you know, doing an aura clearing is really going to aid you. Romantically, I see an offer coming up. This can be whether you are in a relationship or not. And I feel this offer is quite a positive one, but I feel you're going to really mull over it. I don't feel you're going to jump in the deep end. There is a little bit of poker face going on. And it could be that you're wanting to hold it in. This also could be something that you're directly manifesting at this point in time, and it's in the ethers coming towards you. Setting your intentions, being very open to it, I think is ultimately key. I do feel you also can hear gossip through the grapevine in relation to a past tense love interest. This also could go in your favor in the long run, but I do feel it might set you back a bit. It's going to surprise you. You weren't quite expecting it. I hope to see you through on the other side in our YouTube membership for your Psychic Tarot extension. Come through and take a look what I see coming through for you. I hope to see you through on the other side in our YouTube membership.